cut the umbilical cord of repression. Cut the chains and bondage of conformity. Go inside your wretched bodies and minds and look for the music and the sounds that's going to make your mom and dad shut up for once. Your teachers, your religious leaders, the boss, the girlfriend, the boyfriend, the other man, the other woman, the dope dealer, the burglar, the prostitute, all have to stand by while you play music. Because this is the diet supplement you need to get through life. You need leaders, so you can replace them with yourselves. Because in the hard sell, you are part of the equation. You are the consumer. And you must consume everything in your dirty rooms that makes no sense, that has no logic, nothing to do with paying bills, but it has everything to do with being happy. The hard sell is the laxative of survival. Let it flow.
Freedom. Hey there, doggy.
You gotta go? Oh, wait a minute. Uh-oh. I think she went. We hadn't taken the impetus to start with something completely fresh since the original Brain Freeze set, because product placement, there were elements of it that had been built on from the El Rey version of the Brain Freeze show, which was built on from the original Brain Freeze set. So, in essence, this was only the second time we had started completely fresh. We went from 4 turntables to 8. Cut had a foot pedal that he'd been toying around with. We wanted to present a show to the Hollywood Bowl audience that wasn't just us doing our thing as we normally do it, but us challenged.
From Future Primitive to what happened at the El Rey Theater, I remember being there that night. To see it happen the way it happened that night, and then to fast forward to the Hollywood Bowl.
Fused, of course. What would you
Cut
mean?
and Shadow continued to educate people.
What would you mean?
And people want that.
A plug.
You know, my expectations of the show, the cool thing is I didn't know what to expect. And for me, that's why I'm in this business of music. I mean, the stuff that's super predictable, I'm usually not, I don't dig that anyway. So that was actually the best part about booking this thing. I didn't know I had no idea, you know, and that was great. The intro film was ridiculous. And it was so great because, let's say there's 15,000 people or something in the audience watching, and maybe 30% knew what the fuck a DJ does. And everybody got it.
Wrote out a script and then gave it to Ben.
Hi, Ben Stokes here. I'm the video guy charged with, at the beginning of this whole project, basically making the visuals for the show, as well as some of those visuals being, that's great. And I kind of cooked up this whole crazy idea of having 8 robotically controlled cameras. Pretty low tech what we did, but involved. The idea was we could control all these cameras, pan, tilt, follow the action. Of course, what ended up happening was chaos. Josh Cardenas built the mechanism out of these basic standard parts that you can get. They're pan and tilt motors for the cameras. Those are controlled with MIDI. So we, over at our control station, we have a little MIDI keyboard, and we can use a slider to pan the camera up and down and turn it. I'd go over to Josh C's studio, and he was like drilling holes and things. He also drilled all the holes in the 45 spindles.
Something cool, and I'm just like realizing, no, I'm not doing anything, and then I'm like, oh, the wrist cam's on. You can see it's almost like the journey of the record. Man, we got this, man. I've never seen anything like that before, and you know, everybody seems like they have lipstick cams and visuals now, but you know, once again, Ben Stokes is taking it to the next level. I had this 45 that had the perfect dialogue that I had ready for an up-and-coming Cut Chemist tour about battery-operated portable turntables, and it was on 45, lucky enough. So I was like, oh man, that's a sign from heaven. We have to use this. It's going in the routine. Josh, get a portable record player and a mixer and rig it up like I got mine, and we're going to do this. And I just remember the first time we put it on him, you know, it was just like it reminded me of that scene in Christmas Story when they put the bunny suit on the kid and he's walking around like, what the hell?
So you guys are tethered with your wrist cams to the DJ setup. Then there's 8 cables going down to a big control box and 8 video cables going to our control station. And then when the stage rotated around right before showtime, the MIDI cable didn't reach. So we had to improvise. So Josh ended up standing about 10 feet away from me, and we wung it. You know, we got through the show.
You wung it?
We winged it.
4 days before the show, and we still didn't have the set locked. The visuals, we still hadn't seen the visuals. In fact, I never saw the visuals until after the Hollywood Bowl show. So I had no idea what was going on the screen behind me.
There was huge black holes. There were things not done. There was like 2 minutes of blank space in the intro, and that was like our last rehearsal. So
a 7-inch, developed by RCA Victor Records in 1949.
That just be white at 7-inch?
The 45 format was intended to provide a smaller, more attractive alternative.
There was so much stuff that there was so much of the set that hadn't been put together until the night before. The garage rock section was in shambles.
I think the stress of trying to micromanage, you know, the filming and the set itself and the visuals and the cameras and the budget and the logistics of getting to LA and where everybody was going to be staying and who had a seat, who didn't have a seat. All of this stuff, at various times, I think we were kind of, the pressure was kind of starting to make the pot lid boil a little bit, and I think that kind of came out in some of the rehearsals.
No. Keep going. Keep going. Sounds a blow. I expect at least a minute of class.
When you're dealing with 45s, it's kind of intense because they move quickly. We're in and out of the records quickly. They're unstable to work with. And just knowing that we were at an outdoor venue, wind was a possible concern. We just didn't, there were a lot of X factors, and I remember feeling like at one point a guitar pedal just might be one challenge too many for me. But that kind of faded after I was seeing what we were able to put together.
Drop it when you drop it out? Yeah. Okay.
Now you're not only using your arms, but you're using your feet, all limbs. It's like being a drummer.
These cats had like, was 8 turntables. some other stuff that I don't even know. You know, Mothership, Spaceland, kind of crazy stuff.
Loop pedals.
Loop pedals?
You know, like sample pedals.
Loop pedals?
Yeah, we might as well throw that in the mix.
Loop pads?
Loop pedals.
Loop pedals. They had some loop pedals. I saw those.
If you drive the pedal too hard, the music quickly becomes kind of ugly and distorted, and then again you're encapsulating that moment. If it's distorted when it's going in, it's going to be distorted looping.
It's a really good thing that Shadow took notes while we were playing, because you know the way I think the way we take approach to doing sets and making music is somewhat different. You know, I tend to just kind of freeball it and just move in real time, and you know he tends to be a lot more mathematical and write things down.
See if I can match it with this right here. This one is it.
In terms of building the set, my main concern, because this has happened in both of the previous sets, is that we didn't come up with some incredible moment at 2 in the morning and then wake up the next day and go, how did we do that again? And never be able to reproduce it.
Beloved, here we are, you and I, truly alone.
Okay, yeah. So there was a big crew making the visuals. A lot of close friends of mine: Patrick Seymour, Jesse Russell, Eric Kojal, Josh Cardenas, and Tao Gerber. Things come up that you weren't planning on, and sometimes those things are the happy accidents. One of those things that I like looking at the footage now is just how pervasive the 45 shape is. Because not only is it in most of the visuals, there's pretty much any frame in this DVD, if you park on it, there's going to be a 45 record somewhere in the shot. You know, and there are records that lying all around you guys. Patrick's swarm of records flying over the city, that's one of my favorite things. The real close-up records popping off of a sort of mechanism thing that happens during the big long drum break.
Yeah, I'll talk about the youth market. The youth market. There's no such thing as young, happy people. Youth is wasted on the young. Heroin and death. Satan, you look like the guy in Food Fighters. Look at him. Food Fighter guy. We've got someone who wants to meet you. Kim Vincent Fowley. Occupation, pretty boy.
We were really lucky to get Kim Fowley. He actually called us back. We talked to him for 2 hours on the phone. We all have one person in common between the three of us, and that's a record dealer named John Hilliard.
Well, John Hilliard, genius. He was a human. He was very objectively sensitive.
Having something in common amongst all three of us, I thought, was a good enough reason for me to have Kim Fowley involved in the show right off the bat, above, you know, him being a prominent figure in the Hollywood scene.
Hurry up, man, this is hard to breathe.
Okay, we're rolling.
When we're ready.
We're rolling.
The ending. People like me are the guys who make the music that you guys collect. You'll never invite us to your house for Christmas dinner. You will never have us there. We won't be at your wedding, your baptisms, or your funerals. We won't be at your work or your school. But we're going to be there for the lonely times. And we're going to be there for the parties. when you guys need noise, when you guys need music, when you guys need the inspiration for the hard sell. We are the soundtrack of your lives. Ladies and gentlemen, and those who aren't sure, forget the teardrops. Turn up the volume.